Same page. That is x plus 3, x minus 2, and x plus 1 over x plus 1 less than or equal to 0. I'm hoping you see the pattern in all these examples. We just have to study the sign and select, as long as we cannot use the table unless this is a product or a ratio and this is 0. I selected one that was already set up for us. And you can choose others, of course. X is the variable in the problem. The first factor is x plus 3. The next factor is x minus 2. The next factor is x plus 1. And finally, I'm interested in the whole thing. Well, the whole thing means x plus 3, x minus 2 over x plus 1. Can anyone give us the numbers that I have to put in the table? And how many are they?
You have to put in -3.
Yes?
-1.
And?
+2.
Very good. -3, -1, +2. And the corresponding zeros. -1, 2, -3, 2, and -1. Now, careful, tell me what you will write here. And I have to be careful. What do I write under x minus 3, knowing that x plus 3 is at the top?
0.
Excellent. What do I write for x when x minus 1 is 0? When x is -1, knowing that x plus 1 is in the denominator?
1 over 0? Oh, undefined.
Exactly. That's the only difference. That a ratio could be undefined, but a product cannot. What do I write under 2? Knowing that x, yes, because its factor is at the top. The rest is the same. All of them have positive leading coefficient. I don't have to think. Just copy the signs. Just remember, if I change this, like I'm going to delete it, but if I change this into a negative leading coefficient, the sequence of signs changes. Positive and then negative. Don't correct it. I'm going to erase it. Can anyone give us the sign on the first subinterval?
Negative.
Excellent. There are 3 negatives, of course. On the next subinterval?
Negative.
I have 2 negatives.
Oh, positive.
Good. Here I have 1 negative. I don't bother with the positives. It's a waste of time. I only have to count the negatives.
Negative.
Yes. There are no negatives. Correct. Only now I look. What sign will I pick? What sign is less than or equal to 0? And there is only one. It must be negative. Only the negative sign is less than or equal to 0. So is this ratio ever negative? Yes. For which x values? And since we have the equal symbol, I would write that x in the interval -∞, -3, and I have to use a bracket. No one can use a bracket here. So it has to be a parenthesis because it's undefined. And then 2 with a bracket. Okay, would you like to choose another rational? That's the only difference.
What page is this on again?
441. So we are on page 441, and the rationals are between 43 and 60 on 441. Do we choose or I will? We just looked at 54. Or we can make one up.
Let's do 53.
Let's do 53. And then I would like to look at 50. Perfect, 53. Same thing, x plus 4, x minus 1 over x plus 2, less than or equal to 0 again. Okay, so I'll get the table going. X is the variable in the problem. And then we have x plus 4, the first factor, x minus 1, the next factor, x plus 2, the next factor. And because I'm lazy and I don't have enough room, I'm going to write ratio, which is the whole thing. X between negative infinity to infinity. And I need 3 numbers in the table. Can anyone give us 3 numbers in the correct order?
We need -4, -2, and +1.
Good. A 0 here, a 0 here, and a 0 here. Now we have to identify what happens to the ratio. See, that's not a good idea because I don't have it. We don't have it here handy and I cannot show. So I made myself a mental note, stop being lazy. Good. What happens under -4? What happens under -2? And what happens under 1 for the ratio?
So under -4, we put 0.
Yes?
Under -2, we put undefined.
Yes.
And under 1, we put 0.
That's it. Very easy. Everything is the same. Positive leading coefficient. Three negatives.
Negative.
Yes. 2 negatives.
Positive.
1 negative.
Negative.
And positive. And we also want less than or equal to 0, which is this and this, which is this and this. So x in the interval, negative infinity, -4 with a bracket, union, but I cannot use a bracket on -2 because the expression is undefined, but 1 with a bracket.
Okay. Can we write, like, what would that be as greater than or equal to 0?
Yes. So I'm going to say if, not to confuse, okay? So if I have x plus 4, x minus 1 over x plus 2 greater than or equal to 0, I will be using -4 with a bracket, -2 without a bracket, union 1 with a bracket, and infinity. Because it would be this area.
Okay.
Now, if we look back at all the material for this test, this must be the easiest. I hope you agree.
Yeah.
Then rationals, then polynomials, and graphing quadratics, and anything else. Finding the inverse of a function, and the circle, and just anything. This is, I think, the easiest. Okay, let's look at, I think I mentioned 50. And 50 is 3x plus 5 over 6 minus 2x. And the 50 is greater than or equal to 0. Is it a ratio? Yes. Do I have 0 on the other side? Yes. So I can use the table. Because I would like to show another one that is not ready for the table. And I would like you to choose from 55 through 60 in a moment. So this is table ready. The factor at the top is 3x plus 5. The bottom is -2x plus 6. Very important to notice that it's not in the correct order. And 3x plus 5 over 6 minus 2x. So the variable in the problem is still -infinity to infinity is x. which can be anything. Now let's carefully identify the numbers that we need to put in the table. So let's take it slowly, meaning I will take 3x plus 5 and set it equal to 0. From here, I will get that 3x equals -5. And from here, I will get that x equals -5/3. This is my first number. I will take -2x plus 6 and set it equal to 0. From here, I will get -2x equals -6. And when I divide by -2, I get x equals 3. This is the correct order, -5/3, and then 3. 3 creates the 0 here, and -5/3 here. Now, we have to identify what to put under those two numbers corresponding to the ratio. And then we'll study the sign of each linear function.
Okay, we put 0 under -5/3.
Of course, and we cannot put anything. We don't have anything when the denominator is 0, and we call that undefined. This signifies that I don't have a number. I can't put anything in there. Now I have to be super careful because this is a linear function with a positive slope. But this is a linear function with a negative slope. So the signs, the sequence of signs will not be the same. Will be opposite. Good. On the first subinterval, I count a negative. On the next subinterval, I don't count any negatives. There are none. On the last one, I count the negative. So now it says positive or 0. Positive or 0 is only here. So x in the interval, close to -5/3, a bracket, but 3, it's undefined, so I cannot include it. I think we should do one more, unless you would need more, but one that is not table ready. Like, for example, let's say 59. In 59, do you have any questions on the previous one? I'm sorry. On 59, we have x minus 2 over x plus 2 less than or equal to 2. Not table ready. For many reasons. I don't have 0 on this side. When I move to the other side to get the 0, then I have a different type of work or task to accomplish. I have 0 here, but this is not a product or a ratio. So I have to do something about it, meaning I have to find the least common denominator. Can anyone give us the least common denominator here? Anyone? The LCD? Anyone? Well, the least common denominator is the only denominator we have. But this one needs to be multiplied by x plus 2. Because its denominator was 1, 1 was multiplied by x plus 2, we have to multiply the numerator by x plus 2. I copy x minus 2, but now I have to distribute -2 to x and -2 to 2. Combine like terms. As you see, this is more work, not just the table and we're done, right? So the top becomes -x minus 6, and the denominator is x plus 2 less than or equal to 0. Good. 2 factors, -x minus 6, x plus 2. Now I can use the table because this is a ratio, and this is 0. And the ratio Negative x minus 6 over x plus 2. X is the variable in the problem. And now let's see what we get at the top. What numbers we get to put in there.
Sorry, I just want to give other people a chance to answer.
Is anyone else following, please? I'm begging anyone.
Would it be -6
And
-2?
excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. 0 here, 0 here, but we have to identify what happens. We wouldn't worry if this were a product. We would write blindly 0 everywhere. But I have to be careful because this is a ratio, and ratio is a different type of animal. It's a function that can be undefined. That's the only reason why we have to be careful. So what do I write under -6? Okay, what do I write under -2?
Under -6 is 0, and under -2 is undefined.
Thank you very much. Careful. Leading coefficient. Always arrange everything in descending order so you don't miss the leading coefficient. The leading coefficient is negative, so the signs are opposite. Leading coefficient positive, no worries. I divide a positive by a negative. Sign. I think in the same way as if it were a product. Same sign. I divide a positive by a negative. I divide two negatives. I divide a negative by a positive. Only now I ask myself what to choose. What is less than or equal to 0? Only negative. So then I have to choose these two. So x in the interval, -∞, -6, it's 0, and I have the equal symbol. I have to use a bracket. Union, it's undefined. I cannot use a bracket. It has to be a parenthesis, -2 to infinity. Any questions?